Hello, this is Jen. I hope everybody's good. Thank you for being here. I'm here with an energy update. So welcome if you're new. Welcome back if it's your first time. Thank you for being here. We're almost in June, so this energy update is for what's happening right now and for June, like the new moon coming up on June 3rd, the summer solstice coming up on June 21st, and what's happening right now, because I know, especially today, but in the past couple of days, ever since the last full moon, a lot of people have been in strange energies, and it's totally normal. Even though it feels uncomfortable, we are totally pushed to let go of everything and anything that no longer belongs in our lives. And I know we keep on repeating those same things over and over, but that's how it is, really. It's always a cycle. Everything is a cycle. And this one seems to be a little bit harder for a lot of people because we are purging and we are releasing so much. As a collective, like the collective is being pushed forward into a new level of consciousness, a new way of seeing things, feeling things, loving things, a new way of seeing ourselves, a new awareness, a new self-awareness. And this is not always comfortable because it means we need to let go of things, of habits, of behaviors, and stuff that we do pretty much without thinking. And now we're being pushed and we're being asked to let go of these things, to go into the unknown, to go into that void, to allow these new things to show up in our lives. And it's not easy, it's not comfortable, but very necessary if we want to keep moving forward. Otherwise, we stay in the same place and we repeat the same cycles and we repeat the same situations over and over until they are solved or healed, depending on the situation itself. There is also a huge wave of divine masculine being awakened, either newly awakened or awakened further onto their own spiritual path. And for a lot of them, their hearts are just lit. You know, when we download a computer software, we first need to download it and then it has to be processed. So a lot of divine masculine are in that processing phase. So all the downloads have been received, and that explains the past energies of feeling agitated, uncomfortable, restless, unable to sleep at night because those downloads were major. Just like when we have to do an upgrade on our computer, and the bigger the upgrade, the longer it takes. And they've been receiving this new information about themselves, why they're here, their path. They've been guided into releasing, really releasing old stuff, karmic stuff. And for some of them, it goes really deep. Childhood things like core wounds that was stuck or were stuck in their emotional body, energetic body, and old relationships, all those failed relationships that they went through, not really understanding why it failed, aside from how we weren't a match, I guess. They've been reflecting on that and releasing that and looking back on those relationships and being able to see that perhaps the reason they had to go through that was for growth purposes. Instead of seeing it as a failure and carrying that energy of failure in their body, in their mind, and defining themselves by those failures, they now are able to see that it's not a failure, it was an experience, and that they're not that failure, they're not that experience, but they are what they gain from that experience, from that situation, from that relationship, the growth, the lessons, the transformation. And they're now transforming those old residual pains into, well, now I see the lessons. This person made me stronger. This person allowed me to see this about myself, or allowed me to see this about life. And I don't have to identify or to see this as a failure, as it is not. It was just an experience. So that's major healing for them, and it's a major healing phase for the collective as well, because somehow we're all going through this. The divine masculine energy in us is going through this as well, and it's demanding because we need to process that somehow during our day, in the background or in meditation, and it's not always easy to process. So at this point, if you've been remembering stuff about old relationship, that's what it is. And perhaps you're just seeing or remembering that person or that relationship or that situation that happened during the relationship. And you're like, okay, goodbye. Thank you for showing up. It was nice to see you, but goodbye. And just being able to release it completely. It's really the divine masculine energy in us that is working on that right now. And the divine masculine for those that are twin flames or in the twin flame connection. And it's asking a lot of them. They are working super hard on reaching a level of balance where they feel empowered, where they feel in balance, where they feel worthy. And that's not always easy to achieve. It's easy to lose balance when we're in there, always depending on our ego, of course. If we have a huge, big ego, it's easier to maintain, but it's not a real state of balance. So it's not really authentic, so it doesn't count in my book. When we reach that level from an authentic point or starting point, and we work hard to go there and to stay there, it comes with being tested. It comes with being challenged into keeping that balance. So situations tend to show up for us to maintain our truth, speak our truth in a loving and compassionate way in order to keep moving forward and not lose our footing. And a lot of divine masculine are going through this at this time. And it also explains a lot of the lashing out, freaking out, bad moods. A lot of people are in a bad mood these days or have been in a bad mood. Like this pressure, like pressure is on big time. This pressure of, hey dude, it's time to move forward. Hey you, it's time for you to release this because it's blocking you. I know you don't want to release it, but it's for your highest good. So it's going to happen anyway. That pressure of changing and deep transformation, core transformation, just like, you know how when we see a chick coming out of its egg, or any kind of bird, or even the caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, it seems to be hard to break out of this shell. It seems to be hard to just like get out of it and start living this new life outside of being an embryo. That's pretty much how we can describe the energies right now. And it's hard. It's demanding on all levels, especially physically. It's asking for a lot of energy. And that's why at this time, it's really important to protect our energy, setting up boundaries, and just being true to ourselves, speaking our truth, and shining our light very extremely bright. That's how we can transmute whatever is going on outside of ourselves, whatever is going on in the collective, and whatever is going on right now. This wave of what seems to be just lashing out, people stressing out over stuff, miscommunication, misunderstanding. The only way to navigate through this is by being sturdy and by being true to ourselves, and really, really true and authentic, and keeping grounded. So on the divine masculine side, yeah, their hearts are just lit. A lot of them have come to the realization, that they've grown a lot. They've come from a place of, I'm not worthy. I don't like myself. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why all of this happened to me, to a place of, I understand much better now. And I can see why I needed to go through that in order to transform and to understand myself differently and to learn these lessons. And now I'm ready to live by that all the time, which is tremendous for a lot of people. It's such a huge transformation. And they are still processing that. They are still putting that into action, into everyday work or use, and they are still understanding those parts of themselves, which is really the integration and the balance and the harmony between their masculine and feminine side. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for that for a very long time. And some of them are just ready to move on to the next phase. They have sparkles in their eyes. They're planning out their next moves. And some of them, on the opposite, are just like, what is happening to me? They're just waking up, not understanding this ascension and spiritual ascension process. And they are confused. And it is a very confusing process when we go through it the first time. And it is, it could be scary at first until we know exactly what's happening with us. It's a very scary thing to be facing. And that's where they're at, and they're going to find their way. These energies are supporting everyone into their own path. So it's really important to connect to that inner guidance that is always available for us. It is also a time to put into action what we've learned, execute the plan, just really go into action, keep it moving, because when we stop moving, this is where we fall. We need to pay attention to our thoughts at all times, because this is what's manifesting right now. And I know it's difficult because a lot of people are going through major triggers, being triggered left and right for what seems like no good reasons. Whenever that happens, best thing to do, take a step back, analyze the situation, not with your mind, but with your heart. Process it with the heart first to see how you connect with it, to see what you need to learn from it, and learn it. To see what you need to do about it and do it. Because sometimes it's not a lesson. Sometimes it's just putting boundaries to say, hey, this is how far I'm willing to go. I'm stopping here. The rest doesn't belong to me. But in order to do that and stay in balance, we need to clear a lot of things, and we need to be at a certain level. Otherwise, we're coming from ego, or we're coming from fear, and we're afraid, and we're setting boundaries. And really, it's not doing us a service, because those boundaries may be too short for our own expansion or our own growth. When we process it from the heart, that's where the truth is. Therefore, there's no doing wrong. It's about respecting ourselves and respecting our brother and our sister that is involved in the situation that is triggering us. And if it's words, we need to be careful how we respond to that if we choose to respond by words, because we create when we speak. Our words are powerful manifestation tools. And if we don't use the right words or the right energy backing our words, we create just that. We create that energy. So we need to be careful, gentle, because miscommunication is really big right now. So we need to be careful. So yeah, the bad mood. If you've been in a bad mood for a few days, that's probably what you're picking up on. And if you've noticed, I don't know how it was on your side of the world, but on Monday morning, and for the past Monday morning, the weather has been very dark, gray. It was raining. We can feel in the collective that people are not happy about going back to work. And that has been proven. If you've been following Greg Braden, he talks about how we influence the weather, and it's not really the other way around. It's more our energy influencing the weather amongst many other things. But as part of a collective, all our energy combined together does have an influence on the pressure in the atmosphere, and it can absolutely influence the weather. And yeah, for the past few Mondays, I've been noticing how bad and gray the weather is. And you can almost see the energy, the dark energy of everyone having to go to work and being unhappy in this system. And that's what this phase is about. On the new moon coming up on June 3rd, a lot of people will receive what seems like guidance or downloads or epiphanies of, I'm tired of being in this job. I need to quit. I need to do something else. I need to try something else. Of course, I'm not saying quit your job if you're unhappy. But what I'm saying is, if you're unhappy, it's your duty to take a look at that and find a solution to that. We all need to pay our bills. We all need to work. Some don't, but most people do. And being happy at work is a way of life, and it's a way of ensuring that we stay healthy on all levels, that we stay balanced. So it's part of this hygiene that we need to have. And if we're unhappy, something needs to change. Either we change towards the situation or we change the situation by talking to our colleagues, our boss, or just finding a different job. And I'm not saying go out and start your business, do this, do that. No, find a solution that is in respect and in line with who you really are. That's really the only way to be happy during your day. There's no reason to be in a bad mood while at work and thinking life begins outside of work when 5 o'clock comes or when Friday comes. That's not a way to live. That's the best way to be sick and to be angry and to block the spiritual guidance trying to show you where you need to go to follow your abundance or to find abundance. And not only financial abundance, but abundance on all levels. And then June 21st, the solstice, summer solstice for my part of the world. And then it's going to bring eclipse season. So major changes are aligned and waiting to just manifest and show up. Therefore, all that release and cleanup that is happening right now is to make space for what's coming up in just a few weeks. And I know it's very uncomfortable, even for people that have reached a certain level of abundance, happiness, alignment, spiritual alignment. They still feel that. They still feel all those energies and that pressure that is present. And it's there for a reason. And if we want to move forward, manifest what our hearts truly desire, we need to go through those phases. And this is a big one. It really is a huge phase of, this is it. The past is the past. I am letting go. I am forgiving, because forgiveness is the door to personal happiness and liberation. I am healing anything that is bringing me down, dragging me down, keeping me from being the real me, keeping me from speaking my truth. Basically, all those tapes going in loops on how we define ourselves. If we are still defining ourselves by, I'm a twin flame and I'm unhappy because I'm not speaking to my twin, or this happened to me when I was a child, it's time to heal this, and it's totally doable. I have seen people going through horrible situations and who were able to heal. And when do we know that we reach a level of healing that is deep and real and there to stay? Is when we don't identify with this situation any longer. It's when we look at it and we say, yeah, okay, I've been through this. It's not me though. It's just an experience that I had to go through. And I understood this, that from this situation, and I am this way now because of this situation. And it should be positive things. If there are more negative things, it means that there's more healing. And that kind of healing can only happen when we allow ourselves to go deep enough to reach that pain. And I know it's not fun. Most people don't want to go there. But when we go deep enough, we allow our ego to step out of the way, and we allow ourselves to receive the new information, the new perception that is needed for us to understand the situation differently. And the divine masculine, that's what they're going through right now. A lot of them, they're like, okay, I used to think this way before. I used to be stuck in that loop of thought process that would make me feel this way or made me think that it had to be this way. And now I am free from that. So if you're in a twin flame connection, you may be feeling this in yourself. You may be feeling like you have your head in the clouds, or like you're totally out of it and you're like, what is happening? Because a lot of work is being done on the crown chakra, third eye, throat, and heart to align all these chakras together so that they can work harmoniously together and so that they can be in balance and just work at the perfect rhythm or pace for each and every one. And that's demanding, especially for people who are headstrong. It's hard to let go, but it's going on now. So for a lot of people, they are tired, they have headaches, they have throat infections, chest pains, heart palpitations, pain in the upper back, arms, unable to sleep, night sweats, or just right in the middle of the day receiving a huge wave of energy and then feeling that heart pounding in the chest and wondering what it is. It's all the changes that are happening right now in the collective. But in my experience so far, I see more people in twin flame connections feeling that. So it may not be true for you. You may be feeling it even though you're not in a twin flame connection. I'm just saying that in my experience of speaking with people, I usually see more twin flames talking about this. Those physical, intense sensations. But I'm not saying that it's impossible if you're not in twin flame. Okay, everything is possible. Everyone is different, and every twin flame story and connection is different. So we cannot compare, really. So yes, the collective force to release and move forward. So is the divine masculine, so is everyone. And it's really, like I mentioned, a time to execute, put into action, decide where you want to go next. Decide, even if you don't know how. This is where the magic happens. Decide, have the intention, and then go. You're going to receive it if you get out of the way. If you get out of, yeah, but how am I going to do this? And how is this going to happen if this is like that right now? If that is this way right now, who cares about that? Real alchemy is about putting your intention to work for you by staying in the action, by having this true intention in your heart, infusing it with love, believing that it can happen, and not questioning, and having faith and having trust, and just moving forward towards that. If you carry that in your heart, it will show up, it will manifest. If you start questioning, yes, but how is this going to come true? How is this going to happen? You're automatically creating a resistance and a blockage, and it's coming from your mind, it's coming from your ego trying to bring fears to the front to say, look, it can't happen because it's not logical for your mind. And that's how it's so complex to be a human being, because we have this ego trying to understand things from a logical point of view all the time, when as opposed to the heart where it just feels. And that's where we are. We need to feel more. We need to see more. We need to hear more. Like, read between the lines, let go of the mind and the ego and the mind chatter and the mind clutter. It's a huge phase of mind clutter clearing, huge phase of letting go of all these energies, creating spirals in your body. Thoughts are energies. So, and energy moves in a way, in a spiral, and these spirals, if they play in your mind all the time, well, they're keeping you from your truth. They're keeping you from receiving your guidance. So clearing that through meditation or any kind of activity that will allow you to clear it. For a lot of people, it's through sports or arts or cooking, speaking to someone, whatever. But those ongoing energies that are stuck in the energy body, emotional body, and physical body must be released. This is what we're going through right now, this huge cleanup. And once that's done, that's where we feel more centered. That's where we feel more aligned, lighter, more vibrant, more patient. Because lately, a lot of people have not been really patient. They've been questioning and they've been trying to find the answers outside of themselves, when really we need to be patient and have faith that things will work out. That's a true sign of being empowered. If we allow our mind to create any kind of doubts, we're losing the game. Air quotes. We're not really losing, because we can always get back on the horse. But if we're aware of this all the time, every minute of the day, that's where we become very powerful. And that's where we become unstoppable, no matter what comes our way, no matter what we need to deal with, no matter what shows up. We are aware and conscious enough to say, okay, this is going to trigger me. This is going to create this in me. This is going to create this in me. So I'm going to act this way now to stay in balance if I cannot process it right away. And I'm going to take some time to process it later. It happens to me often that I do this kind of thing. During the day, someone tells me something, a client or someone in the street, doesn't matter who, but I see that the trigger is very imminent. So I'm just not going to react right away, and I'm going to process it later by questioning myself. Is there something that I need to understand? Is there something that I missed out of this? Why is this triggering me? Why is this making me feel like this or like that? And how can I transform it? How can I heal it? How can I release it so that it doesn't affect me? And all the while keeping the peace with that person and the situation. And then, if it's someone that we see, a colleague or a client that we see often, bringing it back to the table and then discussing it under a different energy. That's how we transform things in situations with people. That's how we can achieve harmonious levels of cooperation, collaboration, of union. And I'm not talking about twin flame unions, but union within, without, with people. And if a situation, for example, is just never ending, if there's too much resistance, sometimes we just can't do anything about it. Sometimes no matter what we'll say, the person won't receive it. That's fine. We can just take a step back and send love to that person. Send love to that situation to change the energy. That's all. So that's what's happening with the collective right now. So it's normal to feel tired. Headaches are huge these days, really, really big. And anything related to the head, being dizzy, being lightheaded, being like, oh my God, I'm so not here. My head is somewhere in the clouds and I can't seem to ground myself in my body enough. That's because there's so much pressure at this time and so much downloads available to be received. And if you're in a twin flame connection, imagine what's going on the other side of your connection. They are going through this as well. They may not feel it or see it the same way, but they are going through this at the same time. Not like at the in real time, but like they're going through this. If you are going through this, they are. We're all one. We're all the same. It's only a matter of sometimes people are doing it later, a bit later. But anyhow, if you are doing it and you're in the twin flame connection, rest assured that your twin is receiving the same thing in the way that they need to receive it. It might not be the way you received it or the way you want it to be received, but in the way that they need it for them to heal, transform, or whatever that needs to happen on their end. So lots of things going on at the same time. A lot. But brighter days are coming if you are in those grayish days, or if you have been in those grayish days lately. Brighter days are just around the corner. The new moon is going to bring lots new energies and a lot of new downloads and stuff to deal with and integrate. And then the eclipse season is really going to be like first act, second act, and end result. And it's going to be a huge game changer happening during those eclipses. So really, it's all about staying calm, chill, staying in compassion, unconditional love for ourselves, for others, for everything around us, being grateful. Very important these days to be grateful, because if we're not grateful with what we have right now, there is no way that we can receive more. So we need to be grateful and thank these things that are present in our lives. Material stuff, people. Now I know you can imagine thanking your desk or your table, but really being grateful. Just grateful that these things are available for you and that you're ready to receive more. It always starts with gratitude, and it's always about loving more, loving deeper. It's always about healing deeper, releasing deeper. It's always the same cycle with different things, like same day, different shit. Same shit, different day. That same thing, but on the positive side. It's always gratitude, love, heal, release, and healing, even though it hurts, some healing is not painful. Some healing is very liberating and is very eye-opening and very, oh my God, I feel like 30 pounds have been lifted off my shoulders. Some healing doesn't have to be extremely difficult if it's done in consciousness and awareness of I am healing this and I am grateful that I am healing this. And I'm hoping that anyone who was involved in the same situation is free from that negative energy, is free from that pain. I am happy it happened to me. I am happy I'm a changed and a better person, and I'm ready to move on. Thank you. Healing doesn't always need to be difficult, even though it's not always an easy thing. Sometimes we release major stuff and things, and it happens very quickly, and sometimes it takes longer. And that's not a one recipe fits all for everyone. It really depends. So it's all about being true to ourselves, staying in love and compassion, keeping our hearts open. As long as our heart is open, things are fine. It's when the heart starts to close that we get into trouble. So keeping our hearts open, wishing everyone positive things, and we're going to be fine. We're going to see those brighter days that are going to show up a lot faster than we think. If, like I said, you are in that phase of, oh my God, this pressure is driving me nuts. So just hanging tight, keep moving forward in love, compassion. And I'm going to say it just one more time because I just feel like it, in love and compassion. And if you would like to reach me or get in touch with me, you can do so using my email at indigogirl555@gmail.com, on Instagram at indigogirl555, or on Facebook at Indigo Girls Readings. And until the next time, be well.